Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're zeroing in on the 2026 Honda CB125F. It's an entry-level commuter bike.
Yep, and we're working off a review dated May 12th, 2025.
Right, so our mission here is to figure out, based on this review, why this bike keeps popping up as a really strong option, especially for, city commuters or maybe people just starting out riding.
Exactly. We want to get past just the numbers and see what makes it tick, why the reviewer thinks it's a smart pick.
And it's interesting, the reviewer's first take seems to be all about reliability, efficiency, accessibility.
Yeah, it sounds like Honda's really tried to hit that sweet spot between keeping it simple but also making it genuinely useful, functional.
Okay, let's dive in then. What are the core specs? What's under the hood, so to speak?
All right, so the heart of it is a 125cc single-cylinder engine, and it's air-cooled.
Air-cooled. Okay, break that down simply.
Sure. Basically, instead of having like a radiator and coolant fluid like in a car, it uses the air flowing over the engine itself, see those fins on the cylinder, to dissipate heat. It generally means fewer parts, simpler system, potentially easier maintenance, which is a big plus for new riders, often.
Makes sense. Less to go wrong, maybe.
Yeah.
And power-wise, the review says 9.5 horsepower, 7,500 RPM. That sounds kind of low.
Well, yeah, on paper, maybe. But for buzzing around town, getting comfortable with riding, 9.5 horsepower is actually pretty practical. It's enough to keep up with traffic, pull away from lights without feeling like you're holding people up.
Okay.
And then there's the torque, 9.3 newton meters at 6,000 RPM. Torque is more about that initial pull, that grunt from a standstill.
Right, the get up and go.
Exactly. And having decent torque lower down in the rev range like that, it means it should feel quite responsive when you're in stop-and-go situations, which is, let's face it, most city riding.
So usable power where you actually need it day to day.
Got it. And it's got a 4-speed manual transmission.
Yep, 4-speed. Pretty standard for this kind of entry-level 125. Keeps things relatively simple. Fewer gears to worry about when you're learning.
It's 4 enough, though. For city riding, mostly, yeah. You're usually in the first few gears anyway. A 5th gear might be nice for slightly higher speeds, maybe quieter cruising, but the 4-speed really fits that simple urban brief.
Okay, and top speed. The review pegs it around 95 kilometers an hour, about 59 miles per hour.
That's about right. And that figure really tells you where this bike lives. It's an urban commuter, maybe short trips between towns.
Not really a highway machine then.
Definitely not its happy place. You could probably do it, but it wouldn't be much fun for long stretches. Something to keep in mind if your commute involves faster roads.
Right. But for the daily grind, fuel efficiency is probably a bigger deal. 10-liter tank, and the review estimates, 350 kilometers range? That's pretty good.
That's huge. Like over 200 miles potentially on a tank. That means fewer stops for fuel, lower running costs. It's a massive practical benefit for someone using it every day.
Yeah, cost effectiveness is definitely a draw.
Okay, so beyond the basic numbers, what features did the reviewer really hone in on? Well, they kept coming back to that engine. Compact, efficient. The smooth power delivery combined with the great fuel economy just makes it really easy to live with for daily use.
And physically, it's described as lightweight, maneuverable. How does that help in the city?
Oh, massively. It weighs just 112 kilos. That's about 247 pounds. Really light. Plus a low seat, 780 millimeters, so it's easy to get your feet down.
Confidence inspiring, especially for newer riders.
Exactly. And that lightweight makes it super easy to handle in traffic, filter through gaps, wheel into a parking spot, all that city stuff.
Makes sense. The review also mentions user-friendly ergonomics. What does that actually mean in terms of how you sit on it?
It means an upright riding position. You're not hunched over like on a sports bike. More relaxed, easier on your back and wrists, especially on longer commutes.
Right.
Plus, wide handlebars give you good leverage for steering, makes it feel controllable at low speeds. It's all about comfort and reducing fatigue.
Comfort counts. Now, the instrument's analog speedo fuel gauge. Simple. Is that good or bad?
I think for this bike's purpose, it's a definite plus. It gives you the key info speed, fuel clearly, no fuss. You're not overwhelmed with data when you're trying to learn or just navigate busy streets.
Right, keeps the focus on the road.
Yeah, it fits that no-frills functional approach.
Okay. Safety ABS is mentioned as optional. How big a deal is that?
Having optional anti-lock brakes is pretty significant. It's a major safety feature. Helps stop the wheels locking up if you have to brake hard, especially if the road's wet or slippery.
Yeah, crucial.
So even having it as an option shows Honda's thinking about safety, even on their entry-level stuff. That's good to see.
Definitely. And low maintenance durability.
Yeah.
Always good selling points.
For sure. That air-cooled engine plays into the low-maintenance side again. Fewer complex parts like radiators and pumps. And the frame is a steel backbone type, strong, durable, built to last through daily use, basically.
And electric start. Almost take that for granted these days.
You do, but it's still worth mentioning, especially for a commuter making lots of short trips. Just press a button and go. No messing with kickstarters in traffic. Simple convenience.
True. Lastly, the overall design is called minimalist.
Yeah, clean lines, simple round headlight. It's not trying to be flashy. It's saying, I'm here to do a job reliably and efficiently. That probably helps keep the cost down, too.
Okay, so digging into that design and comfort a bit more. Understated elegance and functional design was the phrase used.
Yeah, it sums it up well. It's practical, but not, ugly. The colors matte black, pearl white, metallic gray, they fit that vibe too. Classic, not trendy.
And we talked about the upright position, low seat, lightweight, how those help in the city.
Right, they all combine to make it feel manageable, easy to control whether you're crawling in traffic or nipping around corners. Comfort and handling, hand in hand for urban riding.
What about the bits that soak up the bumps, the suspension?
It's got standard telescopic forks at the front and twin shocks at the back with preload adjustment. Nothing fancy, but the review suggests it's perfectly adequate for city streets. Does the job, provides a reasonably comfortable ride.
Preload adjustment means you can tweak it a bit.
Yeah, basically you can make the rear suspension a bit stiffer if you're carrying a passenger or luggage. Just adds a little bit of versatility.
And that 10-liter fuel tank keeps cropping up as a practical plus.
Absolutely. Big range equals fewer fuel stops. It just makes the bike easier to integrate into your daily routine, less hassle.
Okay, let's circle back to that engine performance. 9.5 horsepower, 9.3 Nm torque. Why is that combo considered good for the city specifically?
Well, think about city riding. Lots of starting and stopping, lower speeds mostly. You don't need huge top-end power.
Right.
What you do need is that initial acceleration from the torque to get moving cleanly from lights, and enough power from the horsepower to comfortably keep pace with, say, 30-40 mile-per-hour traffic. This engine delivers that in the low to mid-rev range, right where you need it.
And the smooth power delivery, the reviewer mentioned. Fuel injection helps there.
Big time. Fuel injection is way more precise than old-school carburetors. It gives you a much smoother, more predictable throttle response, less jerky, much easier for beginners to manage.
And better fuel economy, usually.
Yep, generally better fuel economy and more consistent running, whatever the weather.
Less fuss.
Less fuss, more reliable. It's a key bit of modern tech on this bike.
And the 4-speed gearbox, again, good for learners.
Definitely simpler. Fewer shifts to think about. In town, you're mostly using gears 1, 2, and 3 anyway. Maybe 4th on slightly faster stretches. So while a 5-speed might offer a bit more flexibility, the 4-speed is arguably easier to master initially.
Makes sense. And that fuel efficiency. It's clearly a major hook.
Oh, absolutely. For anyone buying this kind of bike, running costs are usually a big factor. Saving money on fuel is a genuinely cheap way to get around.
And the lightweight handling we talked about. Crucial for city survival.
Totally. Dodging potholes, squeezing through gaps, U-turns, parking. Being light makes all of that so much less effort. Builds confidence, makes riding less tiring, and you've got a disc brake up front for reliable stopping power too, which is obviously essential.
Okay, thinking about technology overall, the review frames it as just enough, not too basic, not overwhelming.
Yeah, that sums it up. Take the dash analog speedo, simple. But you do get a digital fuel gauge, which is handy, practical blend.
And the fuel injection we just covered is a big piece of that modern tech.
Exactly. Improved performance, efficiency, reliability. That's a definite tech upgrade over older designs.
Plus the optional ABS modern safety tech.
Can't stress that enough. Having that available even as an option is a big safety positive.
Electric start, simple tech, but adds convenience.
Yep. Just makes daily life with the bike that bit easier.
And even the air-cooled engine, while simpler, is kind of a deliberate tech choice for reliability, right?
You could definitely argue that. Fewer parts, less complexity often means better long-term reliability and lower maintenance bills. It's a proven, robust technology choice for this kind of bike.
And the steel frame. Solid, dependable tech.
Pretty much. Steel frames are strong, durable, cost-effective. Maybe not the lightest option compared to alloy, but perfectly suited for a workhorse commuter like this, provides good stability.
And the lights, just basic functional tech.
Yeah, does the job of making you visible, no fancy LEDs everywhere, just straightforward functional lighting. Fits the bike's overall philosophy.
All right, let's put it in context. How does the review stack it up against competitors, like the Yamaha YS125?
Okay, yeah, the YS125 is a key rival. The review points out the Yamaha often has slightly more torque, so maybe feels a touch punchier off the line.
But the Honda's engine is simpler.
Right, the air-cooled Honda versus the Yamaha, which is also often air-cooled, but might have slightly different tuning. Then there's the gearbox Honda's 4-speed versus the Yamaha's 5-speed.
So Yamaha potentially a bit more versatile with that extra gear.
Potentially, yeah. Might cruise a bit more comfortably at higher speeds. But the Honda's simpler. Styling's another difference. Honda's more classic. Yamaha often looks a bit sportier, more modern.
What else?
Honda usually has the lower seat height, which is a plus for accessibility, and often a bigger fuel tank, so maybe better range. Price-wise, the Honda generally comes in a bit cheaper too.
So Honda, simpler, maybe cheaper, bigger tank. Yamaha, bit more torque, extra gear, sportier looks. Okay, how about against the Suzuki GSX 125?
Ah, the Suzuki. That's a different beast, really. Much more performance-focused.
How so?
It's got significantly more power, like 15 horsepower versus the Honda's 9.5. It's designed for more spirited riding, higher top speed, quicker acceleration.
But that comes with differences, right?
Oh, yeah. The Suzuki has a liquid-cooled engine, more complex, needs more maintenance than the Honda's air-cooled unit. The riding position is sportier too, more leaned forward, whereas the Honda is upright and comfortable.
So comfort versus agility.
Kind of. The Suzuki is lighter, often has better suspension for handling, feels more nimble. The Honda, while a bit heavier, might feel more stable and easier for a beginner because of the ergonomics and lower seat.
Any other key feature differences?
ABS is usually standard on the Suzuki, optional on the Honda, and the Suzuki has a full digital dash, where the Honda is mostly analog.
So very different propositions, really.
Completely. The Suzuki's for someone wanting a sporty 125 experience. The Honda is squarely aimed at practical, easy commuting.
So wrapping up the competition part, what makes the CB125F stand out in this crowd, according to the review?
It really carves its niche through affordability, Honda's reputation for reliability, sheer ease of use, it's super beginner-friendly, and that excellent fuel efficiency. It's the sensible, dependable choice.
Okay, the review also had a kind of FAQ section. Let's just quickly recap those key points. Top speed, again, was?
Around 95 kilometers, 59 mile per hour.
A horsepower.
9.5 HP at 7,500 RPM.
ABS.
Optional, depending on the market.
Good for beginners.
Excellent, yeah. Lightweight, low seat, easy power.
Fuel tank.
10 liters, 2.6 gallons.
Comfort on long rides.
Best for commuting, short to medium trips. Not ideal for long highway hauls.
Electric start.
Yes.
Versus the Yamaha YS125.
Honda. Often cheaper, bigger tank, simpler engine. Yamaha. More torque, 5-speed.
Fuel efficiency.
Very high. 300 to 350 kilometer range estimated.
And suspension.
Telescopic fork front, twin shock rear with preload adjustment.
Okay, so bringing this deep dive toward a close, the picture painted by this review is pretty clear. The 2026 Honda CB125F is positioned as a really practical, solid choice for its target audience.
Yeah, exactly. Affordable, reliable, super user-friendly, ideal for navigating the city, great first bike, efficient engine, easy handling. It ticks a lot of boxes for practical transport.
Which leads to a thought for you, the listener. Thinking about this bike's blend of, simplicity, but with key modern features like fuel injection and optional ABS. Yeah. What are your absolute must-haves for an everyday vehicle? Is it power, economy, simplicity, technology?
And does the way Honda approached the CB125F, the kind of balancing act, does that resonate with what you prioritize?
Something to ponder. It definitely encourages you to think about what you really need and maybe explore some of these entry-level options based on those priorities.